Trade Kings, improving lives.
Good evening. Thank you so much that you find time to join us every weekday from the hour of 21:30 up until the hour of 22:30, discussing nothing but the day's big news stories. I'm your host. My name is Andrew Mwansa.
My name is Dingindaba Jonah Buyoya. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight, and we will be running you through some of the day's biggest news stories, highlighting some of the things that have happened. A landmark ruling by the Supreme Court having been announced earlier today in relation to the Post newspaper, and well, this was the liquidation case, and well, interesting revelations from the Supreme Court. But I think also what is outstanding in that judgment is the fact that the respondents in the appeal case, in this case, the legal representatives of the Post newspaper in liquidation, were not a part of the entire appeal process. Not once did they speak before the Supreme Court, and this decision has entirely been made upon the information or the arguments that were presented by the appellants, who today emerge victorious and have been sent back to the High Court. Quite an interesting day it's been, and I find this a very intriguing judgment that has been made by the Supreme Court, the 55-page judgment. And I guess we'll delve a little bit into that as well, talking about media freedom. But even more so, the show tonight hosts one interesting politician who, begs no introduction because a lot of us know who he is. Dr. Canisius Banda will be joining us on tonight's edition of Diamond Live. You can be a part of the show by calling us or leaving a hashtag Diamond Live on Twitter.
But now joining us now is Joan Chira. Now, Joan Chira is former Post newspaper managing editor. Madam Joan, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello, good evening, Andrew, and good evening, viewers.
Well, I think let's begin off the show with what you make of the landmark ruling, that was made today by the Supreme Court to declare the liquidation of the Post newspaper now and void. Madam Joan Chira, are you able to hear us?
Hello, Andrew. Sorry. Could you repeat that? Unfortunately, I had a network break. I couldn't get you.
Well, my question was, what do you make of the landmark decision that was made by the Supreme Court to declare the liquidation of the Post newspaper now and void?
Well, that's an interesting ruling coming out of the Supreme Court. Of course, for a person like myself, and having been one of the employees at the Post, I'm actually not surprised that that's what is coming out. I somewhat expected this, especially when you talk about a court that, pays attention to the fact that justice has to be served at the end of the day. So that's where we are today. Of course, you know that it's not a secret that the entire process of liquidation of the Post was something that was flowed right from the beginning. And that's something that had been talked about even then. But it's a matter that dragged on and on until we saw the appeal.
Well, we seem to have lost, the former managing, editor of the Post newspaper. But we'll try to reconnect to her to just get to find out more about this case, especially that she is former, staff and employee of the Post newspaper. But in studio, we're joined in by former UPND vice president, but now a member of the Patriotic Front, Dr. Canisius Banda. Good evening and welcome to the program.
You wanted me here, Andrew, and here is where I am.
How are you?
Oh, very well, jolly fine, smiling, full of gratitude, grateful to the Lord. God is all we have. Wives, friends can abandon you. Even the government can abandon you. But God will stick with you. He will always be with you.
Maybe for you, perhaps also the people. It seems they abandoned you in the last election, and that's where we will start from. We had a bit of a conversation just before we started the show, talking about your position as a politician. Are you still staunch, patriotic front as you were before the election?
The people, Jonah, are supreme. The people govern. This country belongs to the people. So when the people say this is the way we must go, that's the way we must go. So they did not abandon anyone. The people made a choice that we should be where we are today. And these same people are talking. They're saying, nanga bwanjiunga. It's 175 kwacha today. We were promised that the cost of living would fall. The same people, the Zambians, these are the ones with the power, you see. They can put you there, they can take you out. So we must put the people, of course, God first, but the people govern, it's their country. Yes, some PF. And look, there's this succession issue on the table. So at the moment, I'm warming up. You understand?
You're warming up to take over leadership of the Patriotic Front?
To succeed Hakainde Hichilema.
Through the Patriotic Front?
Hakainde is going away. So we need now to begin to look at a new leader. Who is going to come after him? You understand me? So now, this is the platform. So which platform should me, Canisius Banda, use? Should I succeed ECL, lead the PF? Well, the PF will decide. If that doesn't happen, we go to plan
Is this
B.
something that you're contemplating?
Of course.
Have your intentions been made clear within the Patriotic Front that you're eyeing the top job in the party?
The party will issue guidelines, and we will follow what the Central Committee will decide. And that time, I will make my decision. It's rather premature now.
It sounds like you've made your decision because you've clearly said that you are setting yourself up.
Yes, I'm lifting, mental weights, building up my thinking capacity to govern. Yeah, but I'm listening to the people, Jonah. The people are saying, Banda, we want you there as well. You've been helping these guys. You helped Hakainde, you helped ECL, but stand also. These are the people, the citizens of Zambia saying that. So I'm listening to them.
Well, where are you getting the confidence that, President Hakainde Hichilema is going?
Because he has come. You see, when you are going somewhere, you arrive, the next step is to leave. Hichilema wanted to be president for a long time. And everybody thought, well, he's got a plan already in place to govern Zambia. Andrew, it's easy to run for office, but it's not easy. It's difficult to run the office. He needs our help. He needs our support right now. We need to help him. His success is our success, but he's going away. He's president now. He cannot go any higher, can he? No, he's leaving. He's sometime, we don't know exactly when, he will cease to be president. And Zambia will have another president. Why not me?
So you ask why not you, and I'd like to bring this aspect. You've talked about you helping President Hakainde Hichilema, helping President Edgar Lungu.
Yes.
But I'd also like to put in context that these two people, you helped them, both of them, when they didn't win. How does that give you confidence that you'll help yourself to win?
Oh, look. When I was vice president to Hakainde, two things happened, and that was for years. The popularity of the party soared. In 2011, the UPND was third. But when President Sata died, 2014, the UPND, it can be argued, was the most popular party that time. Now, you see, what happened in the UPND between 2011 and 2014, it was me being picked as vice president.
Still, they didn't win.
Now, number two, so popularity sold. Number two, the PF listened to what we were saying. Chagwa wagwetsa magetsi. Chagwa wagwetsa ulimi. Chagwa wagwetsa mapunzilo. We used to speak like that. And then you saw load shedding ended. Then you saw, the fees in schools went down. Agriculture, we had a bumper harvest. You understand me? So, look, we must contribute as citizens. Whenever we are given a chance to contribute to Zambia, Zambia is our country. Let's do it. Let's not just focus on winning. No, let's focus on building you, building me, building the country. This country, Jonah, is the second richest country on the continent of Africa.
So, Dr. Banda, I'm still going to ask you the same question.
And with a very small population, 17 million.
I'm still going to ask you the same question.
Yes, ask again.
Given that you have shown an interest into leading the country, I've given you a perfect example that both of these people that you say you supported and you pushed forward, you pushed them when they didn't win. So I'm asking where your confidence is coming that if you're given such an opportunity, you will
when
emerge.
I was with Hakainde, we would sit, the two of us, and I would even go to his wife and say, time and chance happen to all. Stay in the game. Keep running. It's going to happen for you someday. How many times did he fail? Many, many times. So the ascendancy of Hakainde to the presidency of Zambia is in keeping with Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11. Time and chance happen to all. Stay in the game. It's going to happen to you.
So even when you were campaigning last year, you knew that it was going to happen to him one day.
Yeah, I did, yes.
And what you were trying to do is stop that from happening.
Yeah, you see, you know what happened? I told you, when I was in the UPND, the PF listened. And then I looked at the manifesto of the UPND, 2021 going forward. The things the UPND were promising in the manifesto, of course, they promised other things aside from what is in the manifesto. You know, the dollar will appreciate, fuel will come down, 1,500 kwacha across the board to civil servants, so many things. But in the manifesto, there were promises like we will end load shedding. But at the time the campaign was happening, load shedding had ended. They said they would employ skilled workers. But you see, at the time we were campaigning for the PF, I was supporting Dr. Lungu. Thousands of skilled workers had been employed, over 100,000. You understand? So the things that the UPND were promising, the PF had begun to do. So when you looked at the manifesto of the UPND, and what the PF, towards the end of their reign, had begun to do, there was no need for change.
If you're asked,
but then the Lord had his other plans.
Well, you speak of the importance of contributing to national development, Doc. If you're invited by the UPND to serve at party level or perhaps in government, would you accept the invitation?
Party level? I don't know about that. But yes, you see, should Hakainde call me, look, service, national service comes first, you understand, and he needs help. He needs help. So I'll ask him, but okay, you want me to work with you. What role do you have for
Would
me?
you accept?
It depends on the role.
What role would you accept?
I have to score.
What role would you accept, Doc?
I have to help. Well, the current role which I'm playing, I think, is okay. You know what I'm doing?
What are you doing?
I'm advising him privately. It's better to give advice than to join. You understand?
Are you saying you've still got communication with the president?
Yes.
You speak with him. You call him.
I communicate with him. Yes.
And he communicates back to you.
Well, I communicate with him. I think that's important. And you see, instead of having me joining, for example, he already has my mind. For example, gentlemen here, you see, there are two things that we need to do as a country, Zambia today, to solve the crisis that we are in, this cost of living crisis, the economic crisis that we are in. Number one, let us ensure that the economy is owned by citizens. Today, in terms of turnover, annual turnover, over 90% of the economy is in foreign hands. And this puts too much pressure on the kwacha. Number two, imports. That puts another pressure. So much pressure on the kwacha.
Why don't you give these ideas to President Lungu?
Number two, we need to, so number one, own the economy. Ensure that, Jonah, you own KCM, you own MCM. Now you see, you're saying, why didn't I tell Dr. Lungu? I did.
And then?
I did.
And then what was done?
Yeah, and then you are the judge now to make the judgment. But look, if you look at the manifesto of the PF 2021 going forwards, it's got all these in there. You see, today KCM is in your hands. MCM Mopani is in your hands. Let a consortium of Zambians get together and buy that mine or those mines. Foreigners must come only as equity partners. You understand? Look at the manifesto. It says Zambians first. It says gold mining shall be reserved for Zambians only. It's in the PF manifesto. And this is what Hakainde must build upon. He must do. Number two, this economy is imports dependent. So Hakainde, in his policies and legislation going forward, if he wants to help Zambians, he must shift this economy from imports dependent to exports reliant.
Dr. Banda.
And what I've told you, I have shared with him.
Dr. Canisius Banda,
Yes.
during you've talked a lot about this election, and I want to find this out from you. There are two things I want to find out from you.
Jonah.
The first thing is, can you confidently say that you've got a clean conscience after participating in the last election, supporting the Patriotic Front, who you had previously spoken against when you were a member of the UPND? The Patriotic Front, who the Zambian people felt were not fit to lead this country at that time, given a number of circumstances, how the Zambian economy had fallen apart since 2016, how the rule of law had been compromised, how you being a member of the Patriotic Front were witness to thuggery across the country by cadres of the Patriotic Front who terrorized, even in the capital city, citizens. Would you confidently say with a clean conscience that you made the right decision to support these people last year?
Yeah, you see, Jonah, what you've just listed are the reasons the citizens used to vote the party out. You see, the rule of law was questionable. The economy was doing badly. And then there was COVID and all that. And also the candidature of Dr. Lungu was a controversial issue both within the party and outside. Remember, he stood for the third time. That was a problem. You understand? But I am looking at the manifesto.
No. Before you look at the manifesto, I think that the manifesto is accompanied with a lot of things, Dr. Banda. And I'm asking,
but look,
so these things that have been mentioned, from your analysis, I appreciate the fact that you talk about the manifesto, but from your personal point of view, do you think that these issues that you have raised as well here were not so big issues to vote the Patriotic Front out, that you made the gamble to instead support them, even if you were very well aware of these issues?
Things had begun to change. Things had begun to change. The performance of the PF had gotten better. But
Had it really?
But it was too late. Yes, it was. It was getting better, yes. We can use a number of parameters. I'll tell you that it was getting better. Agriculture, we had a bumper harvest.
But the bumper
And
harvest
you know, I'll
cannot
tell
be
you- let me
attributed
tell
to
you
one
something.
political
Let me tell
party.
you something,
If
Jonah.
anything,
Let me
I
tell you
thought you would
something,
attribute it to God.
Allow me to. Of course, the Lord is there with us. But what the government did is what led to the bumper harvest. Let me tell you something which Hakainde will have difficulties beating, that the PF did. Okay? Hakainde today, his hands are tied. It's difficult for him to wake. Very, very difficult, because on one hand, there is a mountain of debt, And on the other hand, the PF built nearly everything. They built schools, they built hospitals, they built roads. Hakainde will not beat that in 5 years.
So,
You
what you're
understand
saying
me?
is, he's got this heap of debt that was caused by the
So what I'm
Patriotic
saying
Front.
is that things had begun to change. If you go back to before the elections, you see this date, the contraction of date had gone down.
But the
Debt
debt still there.
restructuring had started. You understand me? And today, our Republican president is in Europe. Why is he there? Debt restructuring, which the PF had started to do. So, truth be told, Jonah and Andrew, my friends, you are here, there was even an economic recovery program in place. But today, it's difficult. Vintu vavuta. You see, we are rushing to the IMF for $1.4 billion. Look, Elon Musk is perhaps the richest person in the world today, Jonah. He has about $250 billion net worth as an individual. He got kick-started in Lufanyama there. Lufanyama Emeralds. They started Elon Musk. And what he got there is a tiny fraction is what is still there.
Well, these are things that
Now
the
you see,
Patriotic Front
now
that you
allow me to
supported
finish
was
this
supposed
point.
to deal
Allow me
with.
to finish this point. Now I hear Mikalile, for example, had given the government a loan. So we could go to Elon Musk and say, hey, you, after all, you're African, you're from South Africa here, why don't you give us $2 or $3 billion?
So why didn't that happen with your Patriotic
But you see
Front?
now, look, the party is no longer in power.
But why didn't you do that? I mean, these ideas you're bringing forward. You were in the Patriotic Front.
Time.
Well, another thing that I want to bring forward.
Each party is given time. And when you don't do the things that people expect you to do within that
So
time...
these good ideas have only
get
come
you
when
out.
your party is out of power.
No. Look, I told you that I was giving advice. And
It's fallen on deaf ears.
And advice can either be taken or
And
not
clearly from your
taken.
end point wasn't taken.
Well, I will not say that. I will say that advice was given.
I'll still dwell a little bit on your participation in the election before we move on to other things.
And my conscience.
And your conscience, which is very I believe you also agree is very important. While you say
But
that
I
things...
helped Hakainde more than I helped the PF.
But except that I think
Jonah,
you
take note of that.
Except that you also did make quite some damning statements in the last
Such
election
as which one?
towards the
segment,
current
John?
president. You talked about how he alienated you from the rest of the country. I remember how you talked about how he didn't allow you to tour some parts of the country. But also, you here say that things had started changing.
Yeah.
And that is what was giving you the confidence to support the Patriotic Front and speak at their rallies.
On the manifesto, which is still in place. Beautiful document.
What about the fact that within the campaign period, where you say things had started changing, the Patriotic Front were creating an unfair environment, as having even been proven by the EU election report, which was clearly giving an advantage towards the Patriotic Front. The opposition were not freely, and by the opposition I mean the UPND, were not freely able to campaign in different parts of the country. In the midst of all of this, you still thought things were changing.
Yeah, I don't like it when you refer to foreigners as standards of behavior.
Not standards of behavior,
you're
observers.
saying
They're probably the most
you
independent.
See, the EU don't want educated Zambians to be in leadership. They want illiterate people, uninformed people, so they can easily fool and colonize us.
Did you not witness the fact? Did you not witness
so
the
these
fact
are the people
that
you
there
are
was
quoting?
Did you not witness the fact that there was an
unfair... It's not their country, this one. This is our country.
Well,
let's
forget
president
about the EU.
Has gone to Europe, that's the EU there. He says he's working on confidence, that the international community should have confidence in us. Jonah, we should have confidence in ourselves.
We'll deal with that, but let's forget about the EU.
Okay, yeah.
Did you not evidently see that there was not a fair ground, especially for the opposition, to campaign during that period?
Well, perhaps you're referring to the COVID regulations and all that.
The COVID regulations that were not fairly administered.
Because I remember the PF were not holding rallies.
The president was in
They were doing
Mutendere. The
virtual
president
rallies.
on the final day of the rally, the president
Now, you
was
want
not
me
doing.
to really say that Dr. Lungu was distributing masks? Is that what you want me to say?
So he exactly.
Because
so
I
he
remember
wasn't
even
distributing
Hakainde
face masks.
started moving around distributing masks.
Defying what you had
You
put in
remember
place
what
as the
happened?
patriotic
He
front.
was in Eastern Province, he was here and there. So he started to move about. But look, I will agree with you that expression space had diminished.
But you still thought that things were
Are you
changing.
with me? Yes. Look, you look at 101 things, and then you weigh. You realize, oh, these people are promising things that are already being done. And look, the manifesto is saying Zambians first, gold mining, Zambians, timber business, Zambians, block making, Zambians. That's the PF for you, 2021, 2026. I thought the PF had a better, I still think so today. The manifesto, if you compare the two manifestos, the PF's manifesto is superior to that of the UPND. Trust me, Jonah.
Let's come to the current
Okay,
issues.
Andrew,
Let's come
yes,
to the
say
current
something.
issues. Now, the UPND has
Yes.
been in power for over 5 months. What do you
Right.
make of their performance this far?
Oh, Vavuta, it's difficult, Andrew. It's very difficult. Look, using their own yardstick, you see, Hakainde said he even tabulated how the price of fuel would fall from that time, it was about 17, if we use petrol as an example, to about 12, 13 kwacha per litre. It didn't happen. They started talking economics, which we all understand. But there was economics even before elections. So that didn't happen. And you know, when the price of energy goes up, the cost of production goes up, everything goes up. The cost of living has worsened. If you look at the cost of living on the 11th or the 10th of August 2021 and today, it's worse now. It's difficult. The dollar will appreciate. Somebody was joking with me a short while ago that perhaps it's not yet 14 hours. I said, hey, come on, you. Look, let's be serious with these things. If we want the dollar to appreciate, let's stem the outflow of dollars from Zambia. The retailers in Chainda, in Mandevu, in Chaisa are foreigners. The block makers are foreigners.
But you're just from
The
saying that the
miners
block
are foreigners.
makers were Zambian according to the Patriotic Front.
Oh, no.
So what has changed in the last
Jonah,
5 months?
You should have listened to me. I said it was in the 2021-2026 manifesto that block making would be reserved for Zambia. But I'm making an important point, Jonah. If you want the kwacha to appreciate, stem there's so much capital flight here. You understand me? You know, First Quantum Minerals, Canadians there. Foreigners are running this economy. When they make their money, they buy the dollars, send them home. There's no foreigner who will develop this country. Let's have confidence in ourselves. Number 2, imports. We import a lot, everything, underwear, toothpicks, everything we import. Look, let's focus. It's good there's a Ministry of SMEs there. Let's capacitate Zambians. Let's have the entrepreneurship app installed into kids, kindergarten, primary school.
Well, the
so that
UPND
now,
does also.
look, hang on a minute. When we shift this economy from imports-dependent economy to an exports-reliant one, you will see that the kwacha will appreciate.
But you think
just
these
to
things-
say, today, you know how much a dollar is today?
17
17
kwacha.
kwacha.
It's 17 kwacha?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Not 18?
So it's 17 kwacha.
Oh, okay, but look, it should have been what? Below 10 kwacha, is it?
Well,
Which is
the
not. That was the
government
promise.
does- well,
So
the
I'm
government
answering your question,
does
Andrew.
agree with you,
The
Doc, that-
performance, how has been the performance so
It's
far?
just 5 months. You say Zintu Zavuta. The government does agree.
difficult.
The government
It's
does agree
difficult.
with you that Vintu Vavuta, but perhaps up until 2023, because right now the government is working on fundamentals that will make sure that the livelihoods of people are
Yeah,
bettered.
I'm told the cow is still being fattened. That's what I hear.
Of course, of
But
course.
what
So
are
don't you
people
think
going to do now?
it's a bit premature, Doc, to say,
Oh, was it you? Was it me that said the dollar would appreciate to below 10 kwacha by now? So we're using the UPND's own
well,
yardstick. The UPND's
the
own
PF had
yardstick.
also, you know,
They say they will
promised the
give,
people of Zambia that
civil servants 1,500 kwacha across
But
the
you're a
board.
politician.
It
This is the
hasn't
first time
happened.
that you've heard these
They
things.
say,
Even your
look,
former
we
party
will start,
did
wait for
promise.
the budget, we will employ
You
30,000 teachers,
remember your former party
11,000
promised-
health workers.
Remember that
And
your
now
party-
otizamba pang'ono first
Dr. Tolo,
tisirize kumanga maskulu.
But it doesn't change the fact that these people are
going
going to be. It doesn't change the fact that these people are going to be employed. Don't you think that it's like Andrew says, premature for you to put these KPIs, given the fact that we're talking about a budget that should last us until the last day of the year?
I'll answer you, John, twofold. It's too early, yes. It is too early, frankly speaking. And this is why it gives me hope that, look, let's talk with these guys. If you've got a brilliant idea, share it with them. You see, Hakaindi's success is our success. But the second point, my second way of answering your question is that, look, next time we go to the people to promise them things, let's promise properly. Let's not lie for the sake of getting power. Be careful what you wish for. Power will come your way,
these
and you get
30,000
stuck in the
teachers,
process.
these 30,000 teachers you're talking about, and the 11,200 health workers were not promised before they got into power. They were budgeted for after
you know what?
they won.
Before elections, the promise was actually 6,000 doctors would be employed.
Not in the first
By
year.
this government. But it's not possible to employ 6,000 because Zambia cannot produce 6,000 doctors in this term, in the period. You understand? And as we speak right now, Jonah, it's a very sad story. There are doctors on the streets.
As they've been for years.
Look, that's why the citizens said, Alungu Pumulani, TNT kepo yuwina. Uyu wanena kutiaza tilowetsa ntchito. Koma ntchito zija, zikaliwa bwera.
But it's only 176 days that...
Let us start. What are we waiting for?
So you don't consider the fact that there's a commitment in the budget to employ 11,200 health workers enough? It's
Kakambidwe. You know, when you promise things, and you're implementing them in a different way, people become disillusioned. You said the fuel price would come down. It hasn't. You see? You said fertilizer would be 250 kwacha. It is 850 kwacha now. Urea. Compound D is 600. And
from your end point,
look,
Doc,
you should have told me also, you should have said, as you were listing the reasons why people voted the PF out, there was that perception of corruption as well.
Which we're going to talk about.
We're coming to that?
Yes, we will.
Yeah, but you see, it's there even in this government.
before we can get to corruption,
Because I mentioned fertilizer, you understand me? So it reminded me of corruption. But corruption
we'll get to that.
was
We'll
there
get to-
before Jesus. It's
we'll
there
get to the
now.
fight against corruption and
It's
whether
our
I think
attitude
we're
to
on the
it,
right course in
which
terms
matter.
of
Yes,
winning
Andrew.
this fight. But on your scoreboard,
Yes.
do you think this administration has scored anywhere?
Yeah, maybe this traveling is helping us. Maybe. Talking to, creditors here and there. Perhaps those are the building blocks.
You don't think the introduction of free
diplomacy and
education is
all that.
something good? You don't think
But the Higher Education Scholarships and Loans Board assessed 10,000 young people in this country and said all of them are eligible for loans. Also just clear mahala, a loan. And this government gave only 2,000. Not free education, because the promise was that education would be free from primary to university.
But not on the first day of them being elected. That was not the case. Unless your expectation is that it's supposed to be on the first day.
The parents are saying, Tipatse nkoni maloni. sitigamba kuti ikale free totally tipaseni maloni tizabweza. But they are failing to do that.
In the first 176
kids have to go to school.
They
This fattening of the cow
on the
has to be
floor,
done
now, so
quickly
the Vice
because
President
look,
was
people
very
need to
clear.
eat. And the challenge which he has also, Hakainde, you see, it's twofold. He's got UPND members that have been hungry for years, broke and hungry, and they need to eat. And they must eat. It's their turn to eat. They must eat. And he's not feeding them. He's telling them, no, you can't get milk from rocks. Hang on, Hakai. Don't talk about rocks. Give them something else to eat. There's always something to eat.
What do you mean
and
when
then
you
number
what,
two,
do you, what do you mean when you say they should be
and
given
then
something
there's
to
number two. There is now the other people who don't belong to the UPND.
Yeah, we'll talk about
the majority
those.
of
Let's talk about the
they
ones.
also want to eat.
Let's talk about the ones in the UPND. Let's talk about the ones in the UPND. What is your ideal scenario of them eating?
Oh yeah, they must eat. Look, I advised. You know there are markets in Zambia, and there are over 100 councils. Tell each council to audit how many markets they have and what kind of markets are these. They are private markets, they are cooperative markets, and they're public markets. So, for example, if a district has, out of, say, 51 markets, it has 25 public markets, they can privatize 10 of those markets. Get the youths, this one is one group, Nguira and group, form cooperatives, buy the markets from the councils and start running them as entrepreneurs.
And where is
and then they eat. That's eating, my man.
You mean the UPND members?
Look, citizens, including the UPND members themselves. I told you there are two groups. There's UPND members on one hand, but look, the ones that fought the hardest are the UPND members.
They're not the only
to
ones
be in
that
power.
voted. They're not the only ones.
I know. I
They're
told
less
you
than
there are two
1%
groups.
who voted out.
So it should be equitable.
Exactly. So
But
there
I've
shouldn't
given
be-
you a solution which is sustainable and which would bring the dollars into the country, grow the economy, improve the per capita.
Don't you think this is part of the reason why the Patriotic Front is not here today? Because they thought that their members needed to eat.
We all need to eat, Jonah.
They needed
Look
to
at
eat.
you, the way you're looking
They needed to,
You have eaten.
they needed to eat a different type of eating from that of the
Yeah,
citizens.
so me, I am giving you a structural way of eating where you own capital. Okay? You are an entrepreneur.
Special
And-
eating different from
Yeah.
everybody else.
No, that's the eating. Look, Zambians, you find them at the mountain today. Zambians should own companies, should have the means of production in their hands.
I agree,
and
but
that
they,
way
but do
we
they
will
need?
eat.
But do they need to belong to the UPND?
No,
Must
all
there be a
Zambians.
special eating? But you said that there's the UPND youths that need to eat this special eating that is different
those
from
are
the rest.
hungrier than the rest.
Do you think that this is an ideal scenario? And that's why I'm saying,
one?
don't you think that this is exactly what happened in the Patriotic Front? That they thought that the Patriotic Front members needed to
the eating
eat.
which was going on that time, perhaps it needed to be structured and regulated, and perhaps those were challenges at the time. You understand? Remember you talked about the rule of law breakdown and all that. And every bus which stopped on the street, anybody was at liberty to stop it and levy it. That's not right. You understand me? But what I'm telling you is a legal, a ZDA, ZRA way of eating, where youths get together, they buy a market. It can be, privatization is a good thing. But don't sell to foreigners. We shouldn't sell Indeni. That's a national security installation.
Let's
You
get
understand?
to-
Zambians should buy Indeni, run it,
with the very few minutes
and
we're
sell
remaining,
commodities.
Doc,
to the
And would like also to encourage you to call us and be a part of the show. Give us, we're going to take 2 phone calls, so if you'd like to be a part of the show, do call us, and you can also ask questions or make your contribution.
Now, this administration has, launched a fight against corruption, and this has unsettled, former members, your party members, especially those that served, in higher government positions, because they are going to court, back and forth. All right, they are describing this particular act as a witch hunt. What do you see it as?
It has unsettled everyone. Okay, those that have been searched and picked, are already active and going to court, as you say, and the others are waiting to be searched. So there is fear everywhere. But you see, UNIP handled corruption very well. You know, we had Paul Russell there at the Anti-Corruption Commission. Corruption, one, there should be political will to fight it. Okay? There was corruption before Jesus. There's corruption now. There will be corruption even after Hakainde.
Doc, you continue. We have a caller. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Mansa.
Yes.
I think I'm following that program very well, but I'm having a few questions to ask Mr. Canisius Banda. Mr. Canisius Banda is claiming that he helped the President Hakainde Hichilema. I totally disagree with him because when PF arrested the President Hakainde Hichilema, he stayed there, but the moment he just got out of prison, Canisius Banda thought that maybe HH would die from national activity and take over UPND. But when he just saw that HH was getting out of prison, then he escaped from UPND to PF. So I just agree with him on few issues. When he said the issue of third term, I agree with him. That was wrong for him to go for a third term. When he condemned corruption in PF, I agree with him because we saw a lot of corruption. For instance, even the USA government, we saw the president of that country condemning corruption in Mr. Joe Biden, condemning corruption in PF. We also saw the government of South Africa, Honorable Mpawani, condemning the corruption. Canisius Banda is condemning. We saw the Patriotic Front, the issue for that, how the Patriotic Front said
we'll ask you to conclude, Mr. Luvuto, so that we give an opportunity for others to call in as well.
Just a few months in power, we saw how people being arrested, the owners of those 48,000. Otherwise, the Canisius Banda should stop masquerading that he helped the New government. He never, in fact, ran away from it. He's just coming to mislead the nation. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Good point. When Hakainde was arrested, I was the first Zambian to call for his release. It's a matter of historical record. If he wants to delete history and rewrite it, it's entirely up to him. Okay? But corruption should be fought. It's a cancer. You know, it defrauds citizens and all that.
You think it's a witch hunt the
and
UPND
look,
is doing? The government is doing.
Well. The government should be professional. I told you, I gave the example of UNIP. To start with, there was political will to fight it. And secondly, there were structures in place to address it. In addition to the Anti-Corruption Commission, they were seated. You understand me? So maybe we should credit the UPND here. They have formed that crimes unit, court and all that. So let's be professional about it. Let's not just, as a matter of fact, the criminals could even be, going into these homes and searching. You understand me? It's a security risk. Let the Anti-Corruption Commission and the other law enforcement agencies conduct their investigations, search professionally, and prosecute professionally. We can't label anyone corrupt until the legal system of Zambia has said, yes, this one is corrupt. You understand me? We must fight corruption.
We haven't seen you offer solidarity. We've seen
solidarity.
Yes, to officials that are being questioned at the SEC. Other senior members of the party are offering solidarity. You're not part of those people that are offering solidarity. Why is it so?
Sungalowe, mnyumba ngati chitseko nchokhoma sana kutsekulire. You understand?
The party has not opened up.
So, for example, the
just
party
hold your thought there.
Okay.
Just hold your thought there. We have a caller. Hello, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Please proceed with your contribution or your question to Dr. Banda.
Okay, I think I have 2 points. Dr. Banda, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Very fine. Dr. Banda, we love you so much. I want to...
I love you too.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are enjoying the program and we are following all what is being said. Jonah, how are you? And my friend Mwanza.
Very well, thank you. Thank you for calling in.
Okay. I just wanted to let you know that we love this program so much, and I'm a keen follower of the program. But I have two things. One, I've already, I think, issued it to We Love Dr. Banda. And the second is, I want to advise you, Jonah and Martha, please, don't for the UPND. We are following the program and we are loving what is happening. But don't ask or question the guest as if you are representing UPND. We want to hear it. We want to hear a lot of things from Dr. Banda as much as we want to hear your questions. But your questions should not be coming as if you are representing the UPND. I think that was my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Banda, do you feel as if we are representing
The branch of the UPND?
Now, Vaja, ndiye wene wadziko. Alukamba, alukuza, ndiwa aluonerera ka? Aluona, mene mulufunsira mafunso, so aona kuti, kafunsidwe, kaoneka monga kuti, kali, nikaredi yaka. You understand? So just listen to him and take heed, and you know.
And that's
but look, ask more questions. I'm here. You
well,
called
of course.
me.
Well, the question I asked you is, we've not seen you at the court grounds. We've not seen you.
Yeah. So I was saying, look, I wasn't even in Kawat. I was ready to go on campaign for Clement. Clement was a very strong candidate, and you see that election shows that actually the UPND lost that election, despite their winning. You understand? When everything is analyzed, you see that the Zambians have no confidence today in both the PF and the UPND. They're disillusioned. You understand me? But to answer your question directly, I couldn't go there on my own. There is a central committee. And that central committee, it's got authority to say, look, Canisius, that fellow, Andrew, let's put them in the campaign team. Let them come and campaign. I wasn't put there. You understand? So you can't just impose yourself.
It's a question that we asked also to former Lusaka Province Minister Honorable Bowman.
Yes.
But he was not part of the campaign, team, but he went there by his, on his own. And
Look. Bowman is Bowman. Canisius is Canisius. We are two different individuals and we behave differently.
In the midst of all of this, you not being included in inverted commas and all of that, but you still see an opportunity for you to lead the patriotic.
Yeah. I'm the best candidate. Look,
Jonah, might be, but
Jonah. Look, Jonah. I mean, let's face it. With me there as the leader of the PF, it's a comeback. It's a sure comeback. 2026, the PF will come back. Look at my face. It's a new face, isn't it? Look,
is it?
Yeah.
what do you think?
Look,
what gives you the comparative advantage over the others?
Oh, I was rehearsing to be president. Remember, under HH, I must thank HH, Hakainde, for affording me that opportunity to be his vice president for many years. So that was a rehearsal. You understand? And this is why I'm saying, if he calls me, I will ask him what role you want me to play. You understand me? So look, the PF are in luck. They've got me in their ranks.
Even if they're not including you, I mean, they don't seem to feel.
No.
They don't seem.
That's
they
why
don't seem
we
to
are
feel
here
very lucky.
on the platform. They're listening out there.
They don't seem to feel very
No,
lucky because
look,
they're not including you, and you're actually talking about it here.
The election of a new president hasn't come yet. Guidelines are not in place yet. Nixon, the acting SG, is saying there will be amendments to the Constitution and things like that. So the process is underway. At the right time, we will wait to hear. But I told you, that is plan A. Okay?
What is plan B?
Plan B, look.
Are you planning on opening your own political party?
Maybe lead UNIP and bring it back,
Doesn't this then make you an opportunist,
No.
You're from
Not
MM
me,
because
I'm a patriot.
UPND,
I'm a nationalist.
PF, perhaps we don't know your next political move.
No. Look, I told you that platforms for service will vary over time, but the work we do remains constant, okay? And in this case is to occasion good in the lives of Zambians. So regardless of the platform, if you can be given that chance to empower another citizen, do it, Andrew. You understand me? So that's my focus. Yes,
if you're given an opportunity to have a conversation with President Hakainde Hichilema for 30 minutes, what would you tell him?
Oh, I'll tell him, Hakainde, respect all citizens. Put God first. Respect all citizens. You are in charge of the national cake. Equitably distribute this cake. Ensure that everybody benefits. And should you be advised, either by ECL or Rupia Banda or Xavier Chishimba or anybody, and the advice has merit, take it. And then I would tell him that, look, you will not change Zambia. You will not turn it into a paradise. No, it won't happen. But play your part. Do your bit. And do it to the best of your abilities.
Well,
and when the time comes to say goodbye, to say, oh, Canisius, it's now your turn. Leave. Go. Choka. Tibwere, Feromba, Tikalepo. Takonzega. Yes, Jonah, you want to say something?
I was about to conclude, and I was about to say, well, you don't need a one-on-one with the president because this is a platform for the president to hear, and well, I bet he...
This platform is for the president?
Just like all other
platforms. Like that guy said?
The president to hear, just like all other platforms.
No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so that's what I would tell him. And look, the people, and he should be humble also, because his becoming president is a function of time and chance. Okay? Yeah, he must be aware of that. So the people of Zambia will give him the benefit of doubt. But he mustn't lie. No, he mustn't lie. When he says fuel will come down to 12 liters petrol a liter, 12 kwacha a liter, let it come down. Okay, when he says the dollar will appreciate, let it appreciate. Okay, when he says education will be free from primary to university, let it be so. But you see, when we lie, then we dig our own graves.
Thank you so much.
We prepare for our own departure.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and should you want me to come back, I will definitely come back. But Zambia is rich, potentially richer than Britain. Okay, so let's not focus so much on the West or the East. There's this pendulum shift from the East, we've gone West. We have so much confidence in foreigners to build and develop Zambia. No, the confidence should be in us.
Well, this is where we wrap it up. Thank you so much, Dr. Canisius Banda. Wish you all the best in your political journey. But also on behalf of Joan Chirwa, that is, a former...
Put me there, you eat.
Editor, managing editor. John, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Andrew Mwansa. Jonah, see you tomorrow for Friday's edition of Diamond Live. Good night.
Bacteria and germs are constantly multiplying in our homes based on humidity, temperature, and food residue. Cleaning your home regularly is not enough. It should be sanitized. Splash is a revolutionary quick-acting household cleaner. It works instantly, sanitizing every surface in minutes, meaning less work for you. Our products include Splash Pine Gel, Splash Multi-Purpose Cleaner, and Splash 3-in-1 Pine Disinfectant, Sanitizer, and Deodorizer. Our cleaning products are suitable for home and commercial use. Call us on 0954 966 486 or 0979 331801. Visit shop number 77 Oasis Mall, opposite Intercity, to see more of our cleaning products. Splash, double the H, double the hygiene. Proudly Zambian.
I really don't understand why others insist on going to the bank to bank. I mean, between getting my work done and keeping my side hustle and personal life on the go, spending time in the bank can be a headache. I'm glad I got past that headache by thinking outside the